Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be learning another very super important concept inside Python called functions. So far, we have used built-in function inside Python. I think I showed you, right? We used print function, we used length function, max function, then a list function, dictionary function, tuple function, and so on. So these are the function we have learned. This is called built-in function because it is already implemented by some other developer, right? We were only using that particular function. We were just giving the input and we were receiving the output from that particular function. Okay, I hope you remember. So now it's time to learn our function concept in detail. Like we'll be learning how we can create our custom function. Let's say I want to create a function, okay, and I want to use it. I want to use that particular, let's say, function multiple time in my code. I can also do it. Okay, so this is called functional concept inside Python. So far we have written the code in a scripting. Okay, Python is scripting we have written. Now we'll be learning how we can write the functional programming. Okay, because going forward, whenever you will be implementing different application, advanced application, there this kinds of scripting coding will not work. You have to learn how to write as a function each and everything, because all the software has different function. Let's say if I'm talking about Facebook having different function. Let's say logging is one of the function, sign in is one of the function, creating a profile is one of the function. If you're posting something in Facebook, it is one of the function. So they're combined all the function together and they created this particular bigger software. Okay, so this is called functional programming. So that's why it's super important concept inside Python, inside any kinds of programming language. Okay, you have to learn. So make sure you're watching this particular video till the end. I think after completing this particular video, there won't be having any kinds of doubt on top of this particular functional concept. So let's try to start with our function. So guys, you can see functions are nothing but a function is a programming construct. It takes inputs and return outputs. I think you saw we use some built-in function inside Python, right? We use print function. So print takes an input. Let's say whatever, let's say message you want to print, you just give the input into the print function and it will return you the output. That means it will show you that particular output. And inside that, what is happening, you don't know. How they have written this particular code, you don't know. Okay, because it's completely black box. So you are only giving the input and you're receiving the output. Okay, so this is called actually function, and the function we have used so far, this is called built-in function. But there are two types of function are available inside Python called built-in function and user-defined function. We have already learned about built-in function. Okay, how to use built-in function we have already learned. So far, whatever function we used inside Python, this is called built-in function, right? Now we'll be learning how we can define our own function. This is called user defined function. Let's say you want to create your own function, own custom function, you can also do it. This is called user defined function. As I already given one example, let's say if you want to implement Facebook application, let's say you want to create a login function, you can create your own login function, you can create a sign up function, you can create a profile creation function, you can create a post function, anything you can do here. Fine, this is called custom function and user defined function. We'll be learning. And what is the benefit of function? The main benefit of the function is code reusability, because you can reuse that particular code again and again. See, I was using the print function. So every time I don't need to write the print function from scratch. Okay, I only used to call that particular function whenever I need it. Let's say I want to print my name. I will call the print function. I will give the input. It will give me the output. Let's say I want to print my college name. I will call the function. I'll give the input. It will print my college name. I don't need to write the code from scratch. That is the main advantage here. That means the code reusability. You are reusing that particular code again and again. So that's why once you have created a function, you can use that particular function multiple time in your code, in your project. Fine, that's the idea. Now there are some principles available inside a function, like two main principles are available. Like one is abstraction. What is abstraction? See, I will give you one very easy example of the abstraction. See, abstraction is nothing but there is something exists but you can't see that. So here I've given one example. Let's say I've given one ghost example. Let's say ghost is there but you can't see that. Okay, this is called abstraction. There is something but you can't see that. Okay, this is called abstraction. So similar concept can be applied on top of the function. This is the main principle of this particular function. There is something but you can't see that. That means the function name you can see, but inside what is happening inside the code, actually they have written, you can't see that particular code. You don't understand a particular code. Only what you are doing, you are giving the input and receiving the output. This is called abstraction. That means the logic implemented inside a function, you are not worried about that particular logic. You are only worried how to use that particular function in your code. Okay, this is called abstraction. Fine. And the second principle of function is decomposition. What is decomposition? I'll give you one best example. Avengers. Okay, you can see all the Avengers has their different power. Let's say Hulk is having his own power. Iron Man is having his own power, then Thor is having his own power. That means the different power, right? They're working together. Okay, they're working together to destroy Thanos, right? So this is called decomposition. That means you are using functions. Okay, you are using functions. You can create different functions with different logics, but at the end, what you are doing, you are combining everything and you're creating a bigger application. The example I showed you, right? I didn't remember the Facebook application. Login function is a different, sign up function is a different, how to create a profile function is a different, posting function is a different. But at the end, what you are doing, you're combining each and everything together and creating the complete application. Okay, this is called decomposition. And again, this is like main principle of this particular function. I hope this part is clear. Now let's try to see components of a function, like what are the components are available inside a function. So after some times I will show you a practical implementation of a function. We'll just do the coding, because see, it's completely practical understanding. There is nothing theory I can teach you here. Once we do the practical, everything would be clear. But initially I'm giving you some overview of the function so that this particular concept will be more clear, like why we have to use the function and why it is so important. You can see there are some components of a function. See, that's how your function looks like inside Python. So whenever you want to define a function, first of all, you have to use this particular keyword called def. Def is a definition. Okay, it means definition. You are defining a function. Okay. Now the second thing, actually you can see it's a function name. That means what is the name you want to give to this particular function. See, initially we saw like print function, len function, max function, min function. This was the name of that particular function. We can also give our own name, because this is the user defined function we are creating. My own function I am creating, right? My custom function I am creating. So here I can give any kinds of name. So again, this is called function name. After definition, you have to give the function name. And then you have to give this particular parenthesis. Okay, you have to give this particular parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, whatever variable you are defining, this is called parameters. Because I told you, function can take an input. Okay, function can take an input. It can take one input. It can also take multiple input. We already saw, right? We saw like list function, then we saw tuple function, dictionary function. There I was to pass also, let's say multiple parameter. It was possible. We can also give multiple parameter inside our custom function as well. Okay, so this is called parameter. The input you are giving, this is called parameter. And inside a function, whatever code you are writing, that is whatever logic you are writing, let's say print function, inside a print, how it is printing that particular message, this is called logic inside that particular function. This is called function body. Okay, this is called function body. That means inside a function, whatever code you are writing, let's say in this particular function, you can see there is a code. It is printing number 1 and number 2. The number 1 and number 2, it is getting from the user, and it is doing the addition operation. That means it is doing the summation operation, sum operation. Then it is returning that particular sum. This is called function body. That means this is my logic of that particular function. This function will perform addition operation only. It will take two input from the user, number 1 and number 2, and it will do the addition operation, and it will return that particular answer to the user. Okay, this is called function body. Fine. And you are using another keyword called return. Return will return that particular result. Okay, it will return that particular result. Okay, it will return that particular result. This is called return value. Now you can see outside of the function, I'm calling this particular function. See, I'm calling this particular function add. Now here I'm passing this two value, 2 and 4. Number 1 is 2, number 1 is 4. This is called function calling. Unless and until you are not calling the function, it won't be working. It won't be giving you any kinds of result. You have to call that function. This is called function calling. Okay, and it is returning. It is returning this particular value. That's why I'm storing this particular value in a variable called result, and I'm printing this particular result variable inside my console. So this is the component of a function. I hope this part is clear. Now what I will do, I will take you through my code editor, and I will give you some of the example how we can create a function. Okay, then I think this part will be more clear. So first of all, I will show you one very simple function creation example. Then I will show you the advanced one, like how we can create also advanced function with the let's say parameter input and all. Okay, we'll be discussing each and everything. So let me show you one example, basic example. Let's say see, as of now we have like learned how to write the Python scripting. Scripting means I'm directly writing the code. Let's say I have written one print statement here. I'm just writing. Let's say this is one greeting message I'm printing in front of the user. Okay, now if I execute the program, it will work fine. Now let's say there is another user. Let's say his name is Alex. For this, again I have to write another print function. Okay, I have to use another print function. So for him, again I have to write a print function, and again I can execute and I will get this particular message. Now let's say there is another user. Let's say his name is now let's say his name is Ahmed. So again I have to write a print function, and again I have to execute the program, and I will get my message, right? So here what I'm doing, actually I'm writing a script. Actually I'm writing a script, different script. Let's say there is 100 user. Okay, there is 100 user. 100 times I have to write this particular logic from scratch. Okay, this is the idea. But if I'm using function here, see, let me use the function here. See, I'll just create a function. I showed you can use this particular def keyword, and the function name I have to define right now. Let's say function name is greet. Okay, function name is greet, or you can also give it as greeting, anything you can get. I'll just name it as greet. Definitely this particular function will take one input. So let's say input, it will take the name. Okay, because every time you can see name is changing. Okay, name is changing every time. Okay, so name will be the input. That means this should be the parameter. Now inside that, I'll just print. Okay, I'll just print this particular message. Now instead of using this particular name hard coded, I will just take this from the parameter. Okay, I'll take it from the parameter. So instead of using print, what I can do, I can use one, let's say variable. Let's say this is my output. This is my output. Okay, this is my output. Now I'll just simply return this particular output. Okay, return output. So this is a simple function I have created called greet. Okay, now what this function will do, it will take one input called name and it will show the greeting message. Let's say hello. If you are giving input Bappy, it will tell hello Bappy, welcome to Python. Fine. Now see, if I execute this particular code, there won't be any kinds of output. Okay, there won't be any kinds of output. Why? Because we saw we have to call this particular function. If I want to get output, we have to first of all call this particular function. This is called function calling. So let's call this particular function. I'll just simply write greet. Okay, greet. That means I'm calling the function, and greet will take one parameter. That means one input called name. Okay, so here I will pass my name. Let's say Bappy. Now if I execute the program, you'll see that you will get the message. Hello Bappy, welcome to Python. Now let's say I want to give any other name. Let's say Alex. Hello Alex, welcome to Python. Now see, I don't need to write this particular code. Okay, repetitive time. I have only defined one time in a function and I can use it multiple times. Okay, this is called code reusability, and this is the power of function. Okay, and here we have created our own function. So here we have created our own function. This is called custom function and user defined function, and the function name is greet. I think you remember we also use max. Okay, max function we use, then min function we use. So this is called actually built-in function. Some other developer has created this function, and if you want to see the code, press Ctrl and left click, you will see the code. Okay, how they have created. Okay, so now we have created our own function, and this is the code implementation. Fine. Now other programmer can use my function. Let's say they want to print a greeting message, they can use my function here right now. Okay, I hope now this part is clear. Now see what I will do, it is returning this particular output. I'll store in a variable, let's say result. Okay, result, and I'll simply print this particular result right now. Okay, print the result. See, in Jupyter Notebook, if you're not printing, it will show you in the console, but if you're doing in the py file, it won't be showing you. That's how you have to print this particular result. Okay, now see, it is showing you the output. Okay, I hope this part is clear. Now you can ask me, without a parameter, can I create a function? Yes, you can also create a function without parameter. Let me show you. So I'll copy this function and I'll do some modification. Let's say I won't be taking the parameter right now, and instead of that, I'll just hard code the value here. Now if I execute, see, it's working fine. Now simply if I just call my function greet, see, it will give you the output. Now the best practice, store in a result and print that. Okay, print that. If you're using return statement, okay, inside a function, that time actually you can use this particular storing concept. That means you have to print this particular result again. But if you are printing inside that, let's say I'm printing directly, I'm printing instead of returning. Let's say I'm printing. Okay, I'm printing the output. That time actually I don't need to store. Now see, if I'm storing and if I executing, it will print. It will show you none. Okay, it will show you none. Okay, why? Because it is not returning anything. It is printing inside this particular function. Okay, that time actually I don't need to define this particular statement. Okay, I don't need to store this particular output. Now instead of that, I'll directly call my function and I'll execute. It will show you the message. Okay, this is the difference. This is the difference between return and print. So if you can see any return statement, you can store in a variable. Okay, before calling that particular function, and if you can see any print inside that, you don't need to store it. You can directly call the function. You can get the output. Now let's say there are thousands name. Okay, there is thousands name. You want to show the greeting message. Simply you can use this particular function. So let me show you one code. Let's say this is my function. This is the function I have written. Now let's say there are thousands of name. Okay, there are thousands of names. Names is equal to, I'll take a list. Inside that, let's say I'll take some name. Let's say I'm having these are the name. You can take thousands of name. Okay, it's up to you. Now simply I'll just write one for loop for name in names, and I will call the function right now. Let's say greet, and inside that I will pass my name, and it will see it is returning something. So I'll store in a variable called result. Result is equal to my result, and I'll simply print this particular result. Now if I execute the program, you'll see that it will take all the name one by one. First of all, Bappy, then Alex, then Ahmed, then Kumar, and it will print this particular greeting message. Okay, welcome to Python, and so on. I hope this part is clear. So I have just defined this particular function one time, and I can use it in a multiple time. This is called code reusability. Okay, great. Now let's see another example. Let's say I want to print odd and even number. I think you know how to calculate odd and even number. I already showed you what is the logic. So let's say if you want to check whether a number is odd or even, you can simply do the modulus operation, and modulus operation with respect to actually 2. And if you are getting this particular remainder is equal to 0, that means this is a even number. Okay, otherwise it's an odd number. Okay, that's how actually I can write the logic. Now previously I have written this particular code in a Python scripting. Now I'll be writing this particular code with the help of Python function. So for this, let's define another function. So def, I'll just name it as odd even. Okay, odd even. The function name is odd and even. Fine. So this function will take one input called number. That means user will give one number, and this function will check whether this particular number is an odd or even number. Fine. So inside that, I'm going to write the logic. So if this particular number modulus 2 and remainder is equal to 0. Okay, that means I'll just return this is a even number. Okay, even number. Else I'll just return it's a odd number. Fine. I hope you this part is clear. Now let's execute the program. I won't be getting any output unless and until I'm not calling the function. So now let's call the function. I'll take a variable result, and now I'm going to call this particular function odd even, and I'm going to pass one number. Let's say I'm passing 2. Okay, I'm passing 2. Now I'll print this particular result. Now if I execute, so 2 is a even number. Let's say I'll give 3. 3 is an odd number. Fine. Now I can simply write one for loop, and I can generate some number, and I can give one by one. Let's say I'll just write for I in the range. I'll generate 1 to 11. Okay, that means 1 to 10. And here what I will do, I'll take a variable results. I'll call my function, let's say odd even. Inside that, I'm going to pass my I. Okay, then I'll print my result. Now if I execute the program, you'll see that first of all 1 will come. 1 is an odd number, then 2 will come. Okay, inside this particular function 2 is an even number, then 3 odd, and so on till 10. Actually it will show you all the number one by one. Now if you also want to show the number, what you can do, you can just write like that, I comma. Okay, I comma. Now if I execute, you'll see that 1 is odd number, 2 is even number, 3 is odd number, 4, and so on. Okay, see, one time I've defined the function and multiple time I'm using. Fine. So that's how you can use this particular functional concept inside Python, and you can create different function, and you can integrate all the function together, and you can create a bigger application. Okay, I think I showed you one example, Facebook application. There's a login function, sign in function, post function, account creation function. You are creating separate function, and you are at the end adding everything together. Decomposition. You are doing the decomposition and creating a complete application. So going forward, we'll be also implementing like project with the help of function. I think this particular concept will be more clear. So yes, this is the function creation inside Python. In the next video, we'll be understanding some more topics about this particular function. Okay, we'll try to understand each and everything inside a function. Okay, whatever actually we are having, I think everything you can learn from this particular series. So yes, this is all from my end. Thank you so much. Hi, in this video, we'll be learning Docstring inside a function. See, this Docstring is super important concept inside functions. Okay, why? Let me tell you. So I'll open up my code editor. And here I'm going to copy the function I have written in my previous video. I think you remember this odd and even. This function I will copy and I'll just try to paste here. See, whenever you are creating a function, there are 2 points of view. See, as a developer, I experience this particular things. Always senior programmer creates a function. Okay, always senior programmer creates a function and junior programmer use that particular function. Okay. Now, whenever you are creating a function, you have to take care all the condition. Let's say in some cases, if I just, let's say, execute this particular function. Yeah. Now, if I call the function, I'll copy this particular code. And here I'm going to execute. See, this particular function is working fine. Now, let's say junior programmer is giving this kinds of output. Let's say he is giving this particular output. Let's say here he is giving string type data. That means puppy. Now, if I execute the program, it will throw error. It will throw error. Now, as a senior programmer, this is your responsibility to handle this kinds of situation because you are a senior programmer and you are designing this particular function. So this particular function should be robust. So if it is getting any kind of random input, you should take care of this particular part. Okay. Otherwise, a company will blame on top of you only. Okay. Not on top of the junior programmer because he hasn't written this particular function. Okay. So that's why whenever you are creating any kinds of function, you also need to give the proper information of the function, like what this function does. Okay. How this function works, what kinds of condition it can take, what kinds of condition it can support. Everything you have to mention. Okay. To mention this particular message, we can use this particular statement. So I will give this, actually 6 double quotation. You can see I've given 6 double quotation. Okay. This is called actually Docstring. Okay. This is called actually Docstring. Okay. Docstring inside Python. Fine. Now see, I installed one extension called Docstring. See, auto Docstring. That's why it is giving me the auto Docstring suggestion. Okay. It is automatically giving the auto Docstring. So if you install, you will also get this kinds of Docstring suggestion. But if you don't have it, what you can do, you can simply take this particular 6 double quotation. Okay, 6 double quotation things. Now inside that, you can write a proper message. Let's say I'll just write this function checks if a given number is odd or even. So input, it will take, okay, input any valid number, okay, number or integer, and output, it will return odd or even. Okay, odd or even. Now you can also give the date, the created date of this particular function. So that's how actually you can give a proper information. Okay, this is called Docstring inside a function. Now see, whenever junior programmer is coming in this particular function and they want to use it, they can easily read what this function do, okay, and what kinds of input this function can take and what kinds of output this particular function will return. Okay, and what is the created dates and all. You can also mention so many information. It's up to you. Now it should be a little bit easy for the junior programmer to know about your function, because as a junior programmer, definitely I don't know how your function works. If you're giving this kinds of proper messages, I can get to know, okay, that's how I need to work. And now I don't need to give any kinds of string type input. Okay, I don't need to give any kinds of string type input. Now I can give any kinds of integer type input, because by reading your function, I can get to know it only takes valid integer number. Okay, not any string number. Okay, so that's how actually you have to take care of this part. I hope this part is clear. Fine. So this is called Docstring concept inside Python and inside function. Okay. Now you can also check one Docstring message. Let's say this is my function. Okay. Let's say this particular code is hidden, but I want to see this particular message. What I can do, I'll simply call my function name. I'll just write my function name. You just need to call one attribute called doc. Okay. I think it is there. Doc. Okay. Now I'll just print this particular statement. Now if I execute, see, it will only print the Docstring message. Okay, it will only print the Docstring message from your function. Okay, you can see. You can also check for any other built-in function as well. Let's say I want to check max. Okay, max Docstring. What I'll do, I'll just write max dot and call this particular attribute doc. Okay, now if I execute, it will give me the max Docstring, because inside max function also they have created this particular Docstring. Okay. So if I hover here, you will see that it will suggest me that particular Docstring, okay, what it can perform and all. So as a senior programmer, you should take care these are the part, so that if anyone using your function, so they can use it in a proper way. Now you can also handle this particular, let's say, condition with the help of code as well. Let's say, first of all, I will check. I'll just write another statement. If type, I'll just first of all check the type of the input. So let's say type of num. Okay, type of num. That means the number user is giving. If it is equal to integer type. Okay, if it is equal to integer type, I'll do this particular operation. Otherwise, in the else condition, okay, in the else condition, I'll give a message wrong input. Now see, if I execute the program, now by mistake, let's say if your junior programmer is giving any kinds of string type input, so it will give you this particular wrong input message instead of throwing the error. That's how also you can take care of this at the part. So as a programmer, you have to design, okay, how you're going to handle this particular function. This function should be robust. Okay, it can work with any kinds of input. Okay, you have to take care of this part. Okay, so it's always recommended whenever you are creating a function, try to mention the docstring inside that. Okay, so this is a good practice, guys. As a developer, I will suggest you whenever you are creating your own function, try to also mention the docstring inside that. Okay, that should be the good practice. And I think you know how to create a function right now. And we saw like this is the definition of a function. This is the name of the function. This is called actually parameter. And inside function, whatever things we create inside a triple or double quotation, this is called actually docstring. And inside that, whatever logic I'm writing, this is called actually function body. That means the logic. And whenever I'm calling the function, this is called function calling. Okay, so this thing, I think it is clear now. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. So thanks for watching and I will see you next time. Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing about parameters versus arguments because I have seen there are so many confusion on this particular topic, like what is parameter and what is arguments. Okay, so let's try to clarify these are the things. So here what I have done, I just kept one example, the same example I think you remember, that odd even function I created. So see which one is the parameter and which one is the argument. Okay, I will first of all try to clarify. Whenever you are defining any kinds of function, okay, whenever you are defining any kinds of function, and if this function takes any kinds of input, okay, you can see if I hover here, if I hover on top of this particular input, it is suggesting, you can see it's a parameter. Okay, it's a parameter. That means during define the function, okay, whatever input you are giving inside that particular function, this is called parameters. I hope this is clear. And whenever you are calling the function, that means during function calling, the value actually you are passing, okay, the input you are passing, this is called arguments. Always try to remember these two concepts because this is super important question in the interview as well. They will ask you what is parameter and what is argument. Okay, just try to remember whenever you are defining the function and if you are giving any kinds of input to that particular function, this is called parameters. If you hover here, it will also give you the suggestion. And whenever you are calling the function and if you are giving that particular input, this is called arguments. I hope this is clear. Very simple concept, but lots of confusion are there, right? Now there are some types of arguments are available. Okay, like you can see default arguments is there, positional argument is there, and keyword argument is there. So let's try to discuss all of them one by one. So trust me guys, this particular concept will help you a lot whenever we'll be working with the function. So let's try to understand these particular things in detail. So for this, what I will do, I'll just create a function here. Let's say the function name is power. Okay, so this particular function will just do the power operation. It will take actually two input, let's say A and B. That means two parameter actually it will take, fine, and it will return A power B. Okay, A power B. So this is a simple function I have created. Now let me execute. So first of all, let me discuss this default argument. Okay, if you are not using default argument, so what would be the issue? Okay, first of all, try to understand. Let's say you have created this particular function. Now, let's say someone is using your function. Let's say he's passing A is equal to 2 and B is equal to, let's say 3. Now, if I execute the program, it will work fine. It will give me 8. Okay, it's completely fine. But let's say by mistake, they have given this kinds of input. Let's say they have only given 2. They have only given 2 in this particular function. But this function takes 2 input, you can see. But they have given only 1 input. Now, if I execute the program, you will see that it will throw you error and it will tell power function missing 1 required positional argument B. I hope this part is clear, right? Or let's say they haven't given any kinds of input. Okay, let's say they don't know about your function. Okay, they just executed the function again. So again, it will throw an error. It will tell you missing 2 positional arguments A and B. Now, see, if you want to handle these kinds of situations, what you can do, you can use something called default argument. Okay, So how default argument will help you? So let me copy this function. See, instead of writing like that, what I can do, see, instead of writing this particular function like that, what I can do, I can assign some default value. Okay, let's say a is equal to let's say 2 and b is equal to, let's say 3. Okay, I have defined some default actually value. Now if I execute the program, now let's say if someone is using your, let's say, function, and let's say they are only giving only one input, if I execute the program, you'll see still it will work, because you can see you have only given one actually one argument. Okay, the second argument you haven't given, so automatically it is taking the second argument. Okay, default argument, the default argument you have said b is equal to 3. Now if you're also giving, let's say, any other number, it will try to replace that particular argument. That means 5 will replace here, okay, in the b. I hope this is clear, right? So this is the work of this default argument. That means if you're not, that means during input, if you're not passing any kinds of argument, still it will work. It will take the default argument. Okay, that is the idea. Now let's try to see the positional argument. See, positional argument wise, it is same only. Let me show you. So if I just copy this particular function, and if I execute, now if I just write power, let's say 2, 3, and if I execute, it will give me 8. But if you give like that, let's say 3, 2, it will give you 9, because it will do 3 power 2. But initially, I written 2 power 3. Okay, I hope you got it. That means it is following one position. That means whatever value, that means whatever argument you are giving at the very first, it will actually store in the first parameter, which is nothing but a. Okay, and whatever argument you are giving at the last, it will store at the last like you can say parameter. That means b. I hope you got it. That means it is following one position. Now if I give 3 here, that means 3 will store inside a and 2 will store inside b. Okay, so it always follows the position. Okay, it always follows the position. Okay, this is called positional argument. The same thing, only the default argument, but you are passing as a position. Okay, you are passing as a position. But let's say you don't know the position of a and b. Okay, you don't know the position of a and b. Let's say there would be some situation you will have actually so many parameter. You will have so many parameter, and it's not possible to remember all the parameter and their position. Okay, for this actually you can use something called keywords. Okay, keyword argument. Let me show you the keyword argument example. See, keyword argument is like very used argument inside a function, because this will help you a lot whenever actually you are working with the parameter and everything, right? So let's say this is my function. Now see, whenever I'm using keyword argument, you can also define the key. Let's say here I can directly write a is equal to, let's say 2, and b is equal to 4, or let's say 3. Now if I execute, it will work fine. I can also write like that. Let's say b is equal to 2 and a is equal to, let's say 3. So it will happen automatically. This particular value will store inside b, okay, b parameter, and automatically this particular value will store inside a parameter. That means you don't know what is the position of a and b, but you know a and b is a parameter inside this particular function, right? And you can call this particular key and you can store the value. Okay, you can assign the value, and this is called actually keyword argument. Okay, this is called actually keyword argument, and trust me, this particular keyword argument will help you a lot whenever you will be working with the function and whenever you will be playing with lots of parameter. Okay, so this is actually super important concept inside function. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. What is the difference between parameter and arguments, and I showed you some different types of actually arguments. Okay, you can follow. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. Thanks for watching. Hi guys, in this video we'll try to understand another important concept called args and kwargs inside function. Trust me, this particular concept will help you a lot whenever you are using this particular functional programming in your project. So let's open up our code editor and try to understand this args and kwargs inside function. So guys, you can see args and kwargs is nothing but they are special Python keywords that are used to pass the variable length of arguments to a function. Okay, I'll tell you after some times actually what I have written here. Now you can see whenever I have written this particular args and kwargs, I'm using one special symbol here. This is called start symbol. You can see I'm using this particular start symbol. Whenever you are working with the args, you have to use only one start symbol. Whenever you are working with kwargs, you have to use two start symbol. I'll tell you what is the use of this. Okay, no need to worry. Now first of all, let's try to understand this particular args. Okay, so args is nothing but it allows us to pass a variable number of non-keywords argument to a function. Okay, so what I've written, I'll just prove it. So for this, actually, let me take one example. Let's say I'll just define a function. Let's say the function name is multiply. Okay, multiply. So this particular function will take, let's say, input. Let's say there are two parameters, a and b. So user will pass a and b, and it will return the multiplication of a and b. Okay, so this is my function. Now let me select the kernel. Now if I call this particular function multiply, and if I pass, let's say, a and b, let's say a is equal to, I will pass 2, and let's say b is equal to, I will pass 3. Now if I execute this particular program, you will see that you will get the output. Now you can also pass the value like that. Let's say I can directly pass 2, 3. Okay, 2 and 3. It will also work fine. Now let's say this is the function you have created. It will only take 2 inputs and it will do the multiplication operation. Now let's say your manager told you, I need a function which will calculate actually 3 number. So what you will do, you will again add another parameter here. Let's say c, and here you'll just multiply this particular c as well. Okay, this particular c as well. Now instead of giving 2 input, you will give 3 input right now. Let's say 2, 3, 4. Now if I execute the program, see, it will work fine. Now again your manager, let's say, told you, I need a function which will multiply actually 4 input. So again what you will do, again you will take another variable called d. Again you will do the multiplication of d, and again you will pass the value. Okay, so it will work fine. Now let's say your manager told you, I need a multiplication function which will multiply actually infinite number. Okay, that means user can give any length of the input. Okay, any length of the that means argument. Okay, here I have given 4 argument. So I need a function which will accept actually infinite length of argument. That means I can give as much as value I can here, but I have to handle internally in this particular situation. So in this particular situation, actually it would be a little bit difficult for you to write this particular function, because you don't know what would be the input size. Okay, how many value actually user will pass as an input. Okay, so you can't use this particular approach. That time this particular approach won't be working. So you have to follow some other technique here. Okay, so we can easily handle this particular situation with the help of this particular args special keyword. Okay, now let me tell you how we can handle this particular situation. So what I can do, I'll just simply copy this particular function, and here I will paste it. Now see, instead of taking a, b, c, d like that, I'll just write star args. Okay, star args like that. Now here I will just simply remove this particular line, and if I print this particular args right now, let me show you one thing actually, what I want to do exactly. So I'll simply print this particular args. Okay, here. Now if I execute this particular code, now let's say if I call my multiply function, and inside that, let's say if I pass any input, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. Okay, that means there is no count. Okay, I can pass any number of input. Okay, it's up to me. Now if I execute the program, you will see that what will happen. Internally it is making one tuple. Okay, internally it is making one tuple, whatever input you are giving. So this is the work of this particular args. Okay, that means star args. So this particular special keyword will automatically convert your input to a tuple. Okay, tuple. Now we can also give, let's say, some more input. Okay, still it will work. See, still it will work. Internally it is making this particular tuple. Okay, so now what I can do, I can easily apply actually iteration on top of this particular tuple. So I'll just write a for loop here. Here I'll just write for I in this args. Okay, I in this particular args, and what I will do, I'll do the multiplication operation. So I'll just simply write here, I will take a variable called product. Okay, product. Initially this particular product value would be 1. Now inside this particular for loop, I'll update this particular value. Okay, I'll just write product multiply by, okay, I. Now once it is done, I will just simply return this particular product. Okay, now if I execute the program, and now let's say I will store the result. So res, because I'm returning this particular product, so that's why I will store in a variable called result. Now I'll simply print this particular result here. Okay, I'll simply print this particular result. Now if I execute the program, you will see that I will get the multiplication output. That means I can add as many of input I can here. Okay, now see, still it will work. That means there is no restriction right now. Okay, there is no input restriction. I can pass any kinds of input, and this particular program will work fine. So this program can handle this particular situation very easily. Okay, so this is the work of args. Okay, star args. It allows us to pass a variable number of non-keyword argument. What is non-keyword argument? See, here I'm directly passing the value. Okay, this is called non-keyword argument. And what is keyword argument? I think you remember. Okay, so I think in the previous session I told you there are different types of arguments are available. See, default arguments, positional arguments, and keywords arguments. Okay, now what is keywords argument? Keyword means you are also mentioning the key. That means a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3. You are also mentioning that particular key. This is called keyword argument. Okay, and non-keyword argument means you are not passing any kinds of keyword. Okay, you are not passing any kinds of keyword. That means you are directly so here let me show you. So I think this particular example I can show you. See, you are directly passing this particular value. Okay, this is called non-keyword argument. I hope this is clear. Okay, so that's why we have written it allows to pass a variable number of non-keyword argument to a function. Okay, I hope this part is clear. So this is the work of args inside function, and trust me, you will be using this particular concept a lot going forward, and it will help you a lot, okay, to write a efficient code, right? Now, one question you can ask me, this particular name should be args only, or I can give any other name. Okay, see, you can give also any other name. See, if I copy this particular function as it is, let me say instead of giving the args, I can also give my name. Okay, star bappy. Now, all the places you have to replace with this particular name. Now, if I again execute the program, and if I copy paste this particular function calling, still it will work. So name doesn't matter. You can give any kinds of name, but I saw like in Python people are using this particular star args. Okay, this particular name, because this name is very common. Okay, this name is very common, and it is recommended to use this name only, because if you can see this kinds of name, you will automatically get the idea. Okay, this is the args and kw args concept they are using in their code, right? Instead of using any other name. So this should be my suggestion. Always try to use this name. Okay, this will make this particular code more readability. Okay, instead of using any personal name and all. Okay, but if you need any personal name, you can also use it. It will work fine. Okay, only the thing you have to mention this particular star. Okay, before this particular name. Fine. I hope this is clear. So guys, now the next concept we'll be discussing about kwargs. Okay, so kwargs is nothing but it allows us to pass any number of keyword argument. Okay, what is keyword argument? I think you remember this is the keyword argument. That means we are mentioning the key and also the value. That means key value pair. Okay, we are like passing as a key value pair, like the dictionary we learned, right? I think you remember. So this is called keyword argument. And keyword argument means that they contain the key value pair like a Python dictionary. Okay, here I've already told you. Now let me show me one example. I think this should be more clear. Let's say I'll just write a program here. The program name should be display. Okay, so let's say this is the function I have created. Okay, now here I'll just mention this particular kwargs. Okay, so I'll give double star. If you want to mention kwargs, you have to give double star and just write kwargs. Fine. Now if I print this particular kwargs, see what will happen. So if I print this kwargs, and now if I execute the program, now let me call this particular function, and inside that I will pass some value. Okay, I'll pass some value. See, the value should be in a key value pair. Okay, I have to pass as a key value pair. Let's say I will pass the country with respect to their capital. Let's say first of all I'll just write India is equal to, let's say, Delhi. Let's say Bangladesh is equal to Dhaka, and Sri Lanka, Colombo. Okay, Colombo. So let's say this is my input in this particular function. Now if I execute, so what will happen? See, it will give me as a key value pair. That means it will give me as a dictionary. You can see this is a dictionary. So by default, kwargs, what it does, it converts the input as a dictionary. You can see this should be my key and this should be my value. This should be my key and this should be my value. Again, this should be my key and this should be my value. So initially what args used to do, it was converting everything to a tuple format. I think you remember it was converting everything in a tuple format, right? But kwargs will convert the input in a dictionary format. Now I can apply the dictionary operation. Okay, I can apply the dictionary operation, iteration, anything I can perform, and I can print this particular result. Okay, so what I will do, simply I'll just write one for loop. So I'll just write for key value in kwargs. Okay, kwargs dot items. Okay, what item will return? It will return both things, like the key and value pair both. Okay, I already discussed this part. Now simply I'll just write print, and I'll print the key. I'll take a f string, and here I'm going to first of all print the key. Okay, then I will also print the let's say value. Okay, value. Now if I execute the program, see, it will print all the country with respect to their capitals: India, Delhi, Bangladesh, Dhaka, and Sri Lanka, Colombo. Okay, that's how actually you can use this particular kwargs. If you want to pass any keyword argument, that time you can use it. And if you don't want to pass any keyword argument, if you want to directly pass, you can use this particular args, let's say a special keyword that time. Fine, this is the idea. Now you can ask me whether I have to give kwargs name or not. No, you can give any kinds of name. The same concept you learned for the args only, right? So here you can also give any kinds of name. Let's say I'll give my name. Now here I'll need to only replace my name here. Okay, now if I execute the program, and now if I call the function, see, it will work fine. Okay, there is no error. So this is the concept, guys. You have to remember, because this particular concept will help you a lot going forward. So yes, I hope you got it, and this is all about from this particular video. So thank you for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, in this video we'll try to see how functions are executed in the memory. So whenever, let's say, we define any kinds of function, and whenever we call that particular function, so in the memory actually how this particular function will be executed, we'll try to see this particular visualization. So for this I'm going to use this particular function. I think you remember I have written this particular function called odd and even number actually calculation. So I'll just copy this particular function, and I will open up this Python tutor website. I think you know what is Python tutor. There actually we can visualize our code, right? So let's open up our Python tutor, and there actually we can visualize this particular code. So guys, this is the Python tutor website. So here I'm going to paste this particular code snippet, and now if I click on visualize execution, now you can see my visualization has started, and my interpreter is reading from the first line. You can see. Now if I click on the next button, see what will happen. If I click on the next button, directly this particular execution will come at the last. Okay, why? Because I told you, whenever we define any kinds of function, if you execute this particular function, you won't be getting any kinds of output. That means it will look for why you are calling that particular function. Like that means it will look for whether you have called that particular function or not. If you called, it will execute from that line only. Okay, if you haven't called, it won't be executing. That is the idea. Now you can see I'm calling my function at the line number 7. You can see odd even. I'm just calling this particular function. Inside that I'm passing one value, okay, which is nothing but 5. Now see what will happen before executing this particular print statement. First of all, it will go inside this particular function and will execute all the code inside that. Okay, now if I click here, you will see that it will go inside the function. Okay, it will go inside the function, and here you can see one block would be created. See, whenever you are executing a function, what will happen in the memory? It will create a temporary block. Let's say this is a room. A room means, let's say this is your entire RAM. Okay, this is your entire RAM block. So whenever you are executing this particular function, whenever a function is getting called, it will create a temporary block inside this particular room or inside this particular memory block. Let's say this is the room it has created. Okay, this is the room it has created. You can see this is a room it has created. Fine. This is a temporary one. Why I'm calling it as a temporary? I'll tell you. So first of all, let me execute all the function one by one. Then I will tell you. So let me clear this particular board. Now see, you can see my function has called, and number actually it got 5, because you can see 5 I'm giving as an input. So this particular 5 will come in the num variable. If you click on the next, it will go to the conditional statement. It will check if this particular 5 is a even number or odd number. You can see if I perform modulus operation with respect to 2, and I won't be getting any kinds of reminder is equal to 0. So it will be an odd number. Okay, I think you know it would be an odd number. Let me execute. You'll see that this particular condition is not true. That's why it is coming in the else condition, and it is returning this is a odd number. Okay, this is an odd number. You can see. Okay, this 5 is an odd number. Now see, if I again click on the next, it will return that particular odd number in a print, and print will print that particular statement, and this particular block will be disappeared. That means this particular block would be cleared from the memory. That's why whenever you are working with function always will try to create a temporary block in the memory, and once function, let's say, execution is complete, it will delete that particular block. Okay, if interviewer asks you this particular question, let's say whenever you are working with function, whatever function variable you are defining, whether it would be temporary or it would be fixed, So you always need to know this particular answer. This should be a temporary block. Okay, once function execution is done, this particular block would be deleted from the memory. Okay, so that's how actually function works in the memory. That's how function represents in the memory. Okay, I hope this part is clear right now. Fine. So this was a quick topic. I just wanted to let you know how function works in the memory and how it is getting called. Fine. So I hope you got it. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone. In this video, we'll try to cover another important topic, which is nothing but functions without return statement. Because many of you will have this doubt, if I'm not using return statement inside a function, so what will happen? And what is the difference between this return statement and print statement inside a function? Okay, so for this, I'm going to use this particular example. I think you remember this particular function we have written. Only the change I have done, instead of using return, I'm using print function here. If I show you my previous function, you can see here I was using this particular return statement. Now I'm using this particular print statement. So to explain this particular concept, I'll copy this particular code and I will go to Python tutor website, and there I'll try to show you. Now guys, I'm inside this Python tutor website. Now here I'm going to paste this particular code snippet. Now if I visualize the execution, now we can see my program has executed successfully. Now it is reading for the first line. Now if I click on the next, I think you know it will go where my function is getting called. You can see here my function is getting called. Now before executing this particular print statement, first of all it will execute this particular function. That means whatever code you have written inside a function, it will execute first. Now if I click on the next, you will see that my code will redirect here, and it has created one temporary block, and this is the main code property. You can see this is the main code property. Here you are executing this particular odd even function. That's why it's telling it's a main code property, or you can also call it as global frame, right? And there would be another block. This is the temporary block. This is the function block. Okay, function property only. And function property actually is a temporary one. Once my function has executed, this particular property will be removed, okay, from this particular block. I think I showed you in my previous video, right? Now if I click on the next, see it is checking this condition whether this particular 5 is an odd and even number. Definitely it's an odd number, so this particular condition would be false, and it will go in the else condition. You can see it will go in the else condition. Now see what will happen. It will print this particular odd number. Okay, it will print this particular odd number. If I click on next, you'll see that this odd number would be printed. See, there is no return statement I used. That's why return value is equal to none. Okay, it is returning none. That means if you are not using return statement, by default your function will return none. Okay, by default your function will return none. That means you are not using any kinds of return statement inside this particular function. You are only printing, and that particular print I got it. So this is the actually difference between print statement and return statement. Okay, I hope you got it. Now if I click on the next, you will see that this particular block would be removed because my function has been executed successfully. Okay, I hope you got it. That means if you are not using any return statement, by default it will return none. Okay, and that particular none would be printed here. You can see this function is returning none, and this particular print function is printing that particular none, okay, in the console. I hope this is clear. But whenever you are using return statement, it is returning this particular message. Okay, it is returning this particular message. I think I showed you my previous example. See, it is returning this particular message, and that's why you can see this particular return statement. Let me show you. If I copy this particular code and if I just paste it here, now again let me execute. Now see, if I click on the next, see my main block would be created. Now my function block would be created. Now it will check this number. It's an odd number. It will go to the return statement. Now see, it will return this particular odd number. Okay, but previously it was returning none here because I was using the print statement there. Okay, I was printing it instead of using return statement, and if you're not using return, it will return none. Okay, and that particular none would be printed here. I hope you got it. If we are using function without return statements, what would be the output? Okay, and what is the difference between return and print statement inside a function? So this is like very important concept inside function, because lots of people will have the confusion. Even interviewer also asked this particular question. Okay, that's why I showed you. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be understanding another super important concept inside function called variable scope in function. So inside variable scope, we have two concepts to understand. One is like global variables and another one is like local variables. Because as a beginner, I know you will be having lots of doubt related this particular global variables and local variables. Actually, you won't be able to identify which one is the global variable and which one is the local variable. So no need to worry. I will clarify your doubt. So here I kept actually 3 example. So I hope this 3 example is enough to clear your doubt. Okay, and I will teach you this particular concept, this variable scope concept, and here we'll try to understand this global and local variable. So here you can see here I have written one program. So I think to explain this particular program, I will copy this and I will go to the Python tutor website, and there I'm going to execute. So here is my Python tutor, and I'm going to paste this particular code. And let me visualize this particular execution now. So guys, you can see my execution has started. Now if I click on next, so what will happen? First of all, it will create my main code block. Okay, you can see this is my main code block, and which is also called as global frame. Okay, which is also called as global frame. Now you can see my code execution has came to this particular line number 4, and here I initialized one variable called x is equal to 5. Now if I click on the next, see in the global frame it will create one variable and the value is 5. Because so far my function hasn't called yet. Okay, my function hasn't called yet. So far actually my main code block is running. Okay, that's why everything is running on the global frame, right? Now if I click on the next again, now see my function call has started. Okay, now you can see it has created one function temporary block. This is the function temporary block, I think you know, right? Now 2 block would be created. One is like global frame, that means my main code block, and another is like function code block. Okay, function execution code block, and this is the temporary one. Okay, so this is the temporary one and this is the fixed one. Okay, after execution of your function, this particular block will delete it, but this particular block will remain same because this is the fixed one, this is the global one. Okay, now just try to see in the global block, you can see here I am having one variable called x. Okay, and value is 5. And in functional block, you can see in functional block I'm having one variable called y, and the value is 5. Okay, why it's 5? Because you can see you are giving this particular x in this particular function and it is receiving, that's why this particular y is equal to 5. Got it? Now always try to remember what are the variable will come in the global frame. This is called your global variable. Okay, this is called your global variable. And what are the variable is coming in the functional block? Okay, temporary functional block, this is called local variable. And always remember, you can access global variable inside a function, but you can't access any kinds of local variable, okay, outside of the function. Okay, let me show you. Let's say here I am trying to print x. Now tell me, x is a local variable or it's a global variable? Just try to find x here. You can see x is not present inside this particular function. It is present outside of the function. That means x is a global variable. Okay, it's not a local variable. And what I told you, I can access global variable inside a function. Okay, now see, print x if I do. Okay, if I do print x, you will see that 5 would be printed because x is equal to 5. So I'm able to access this particular global variable inside a function. And if I want to perform any operation, let's say I want to perform the addition operation, okay, with this particular number, I can also do it. If I click on next, you will see that x was 5. Now if I just add 1 with this particular 5, it will become 6. And this will return none because here I'm not using return statement. Now if I click on the next, your code execution will come here in this particular print. Now this particular print will print this particular x, and what is the x value? It is 5. Okay, 5 would be printed. That means your global variable will remain same. There is no change. Although you have performed an addition operation, okay, there won't be any kinds of change. So here what we are doing, we're only trying to access the global variable. Okay, we are only trying to access the global variable outside of the function. Okay, inside a function, actually I'm trying to access it. But I can't access actually local variable. Okay, I can't access local variable which is present inside this particular function. Let's say y. Why I can't access outside of this particular function? It is not possible. So let me show you some more example. I think this would be clear. So I will go back and I will copy the second example. Let's say this is my example. And I'll just try to edit. And I'll paste it here. Now guys, you can see again another program I'm running. If I click on next, first of all, your main code block would be created. That means global frame. And here you are trying to run one function called f. And your code execution will come here. That means you are initializing one variable called x is equal to 5. And this is the global variable because it's outside of the function. And x is equal to 5 has been created inside global frame. Now my function call will start. Now it will create one temporary block. That means functional block. Inside that, another variable I'm defining called y. Okay, and y value would be also 5 because you are passing this particular x inside this particular function. Okay, I hope this is clear. Again, inside this particular function, I'm writing x is equal to 1. Okay, x is equal to 1. Now tell me, if I just write x is equal to 1, so here what will happen? Will it become 5 or will it become 1? Just pause the video and let me know. So let me show you. So if I define this particular variable x is equal to 1, you can see it will create inside this particular functional block, not in the global block. Okay, not in the global block. So whatever variable is coming inside global block, this is my global variable. Whatever variable is coming inside functional block, this is my local variable. Always try to remember. Now you can see it is created in the functional block. That means it is not my global variable right now. It is my local variable. That means inside global variable, there won't be any kinds of change. Okay, now see, here I'm performing one addition operation. I'm just adding 1 with this particular x. Now it will become actually, initially it was 1. Now if I perform this addition operation, it will become 2. Okay, it will change inside this particular functional block. Now here I'm printing this particular x. Okay, here I'm printing this particular x. Now x is equal to 2. It has printed and it has written none, because here I'm not using any kinds of return statement. Fine. Now my code will go in this particular print function again. Okay, and it will print this particular x. Okay, now you'll see that it will print this particular x, and x is equal to 5 right now. Okay, because it is printing my global variable, and global variable is x is equal to 5. There is no change inside this particular variable. So I hope this part is clear, how this particular local variable and global variable is working here. Fine. Now let me show you another example. I'll copy this particular code snippet and let me visualize the execution. Now see, if I execute this program will break. It will throw me one error. Now see what I'm trying to do in this particular program. See, I have defined one function called age, and inside that what I'm doing, I'm just trying to change this particular global variable. You can see x is equal to, and plus I'm doing the addition operation. That means whatever value I'm having, with this particular value I'm trying to add 1. Okay, now what is happening? First of all it is creating one global frame, and we saw in global frame this is the global variable x is equal to 5. Then my function is getting called. Okay, and you can see my local variable is y here. Okay, y here. Now here I'm trying to perform this particular operation, x plus equal to 1. So what will happen? It will first of all try to see whether it is having any local variable or not. Okay, called x. Now you can see inside this particular function, I don't have any kinds of local variable x. So what it will do, it will go outside and it will look for whether I'm having global variable with this particular name or not. Yes, I'm having global variable, which is x here. Now it is trying to perform this particular change operation in this particular global variable. That's why it is throwing error, because you can't change anything inside global variable, okay, from a function. It's not possible. You can access them. Okay, you can access them, you can perform operation on top of that, but you can't change the actual value. Okay, it's not possible. Okay, Python will not give you this kinds of flexibility. Okay, you can't change any global variable. Okay, this is the idea. That means what is happening, whenever you are defining any kinds of function, okay, and whenever you are defining any kinds of variable, first of all it will try to see whether this particular variable is present inside local variable or not. If present, it will use that. Otherwise it will use the actually global variable. That is the idea. I think the previous example I showed you, this one. So first of all, here it will check x is a global or local. You can see x is a local, because here I have defined x is equal to 1, although I'm having one x in the global, but again I'm initializing inside local. First of all, it will give the priority on the local variable. If local is not available, then it will give the priority on the global variable. Okay, but I can access the global variable, but I can't make any change inside global variable. That is the idea. Okay, that's why this particular code is breaking local variable x reference before the assignment. Okay, that means you can't change any kinds of global variable from a function. Okay, it's not possible. But let's say in some cases actually you need to change this particular variable. You need to change this particular global variable from a function. So for this we can use one small concept called we can just define this particular variable as a global. So there is a global keyword you can use. Just write global x. So here I'm telling my function I want to change actually element inside my global variable. Okay, I have given you the access. Now see, if I execute the program, now this particular program will work. Okay, now if I go next, you'll see that my global frame will be created. Now global variable will be also created. Now it will call my function. Now see, this is my local variable y. Now you can see this a change will be done. Okay, initially x was 5, now it will become 6. Okay, you can see x will become 6. Now see, this particular 6 will change inside the global frame, not in the local frame. Okay, that means here I have given the complete permission. Okay, you can change any kinds of global variable object. Okay, now see, if I click here, my code will execute it. Okay, my code will execute it, and if I print x also, it will become 6 right now, because I have changed inside this particular global variable. But this is not a recommended way to use this particular global concept. But in some cases, if you need it, you can do like that. Python gives you this flexibility to perform, but they're not suggesting to do, because if you are defining something global and if you're defining something local, You have to only work with respect to that only. Okay, so you don't need to change anything global, okay, from a function itself. But if you need something, sometimes actually you can do it. Okay, so this is the very important concept. I just wanted to let you know. I hope this is clear now, what is local variable and what is global variable. Always try to remember the variable you are defining inside a function, this is called local variable, and the variable you are defining outside of the function, okay, this is called global variable. And you can access actually global variable from a function, okay, but you can't access any kinds of local variable outside of a function. It's not possible. I hope this is clear. So with that, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this particular video, we'll try to understand another very interesting concept inside function called nested function. So far you have learned like how we can perform, let's say, nested loops, okay, then nested, let's say, conditional statement. We can also use nested functions inside of Python, okay, it is also possible. So this is completely actually practical things I can show you. There is nothing theory. So let's go to our code editor and try to understand this nested function inside Python. So guys, I'm inside my code editor, and what is nested function means, like the function inside a function, okay. Nested means something inside something, okay. Like you learn like loop, okay, loop inside a loop, this is called nested loop. Like you learn, let's say, conditional statement, condition inside a condition, okay, this is called nested. So similar wise we can also use nested function. So for this, what I can show you, let me give one example. First of all, let's say I'll define a function. Let's say the function name is f, okay, so this is going to be my function. So let me zoom. Now inside this particular function, I will define another function, let's say g, and inside g I'm going to just write okay, inside function g. And here I'm going to write inside function f. Fine. Now if I execute the program, it will work fine. Now there is no output because I have to call this particular function. Let's say if I call this particular function f, now just pause the video and just let me know which particular message would be printed. It would be printed inside function g or inside function f. Just try to think and try to give the answer in the comment. Just try to pause the video and just to think. First of all, try to think and give the answer. So let me show you. See, if I execute this particular function f, it will print actually inside function f. Why? Because you can see I'm calling this particular function f. Okay, this particular function is getting called. And inside this particular function f, I'm having another function called g. But this particular function is not getting called anywhere. That's why it will print this particular statement inside function f. Now, if I just write like that, let's say function g, okay, function g, will it work? This particular function I'm trying to call here, will it work? Let me know. See, if I execute, it will throw error. G is not defined. That means you can't actually access any kinds of local function, okay, outside of that particular function. It's not possible. This is a similar concept like your local variable, okay, local and global variable we have learned. So this particular function, it is inside this particular function, okay. So this is called local function. Okay, this is called nested function. That's why I can't access it outside of this particular function. It's not possible. But if I want to call this particular function, where I can call inside this particular function called f. Okay, inside f function, I can call this particular function called g. Now, if I execute, what will happen? Okay, if I execute this particular f, what will happen? See, now it will print inside function g, then inside function f. Why? So let me show you. I'll copy this particular code and I will go to my Python tutor website. So now I'm going to just visualize this particular example. But before that, first of all, let me call this particular function f. Fine. Now if I visualize it, now see, execution has started. Now if I click on next, so what will happen? My function will get called and it will create a global frame first of all, okay, which is nothing but f. Now my execution will go inside this particular function. Now see, I'm inside my f function. Now inside f function, there is another function actually I have created called g. Okay, now what it will look for? It will look for that particular function call, whether g is getting called or not. See, g is getting called. If I click on next, g is getting called. Okay, you can see g is getting called. So it will call this particular g. Okay, and you can see if I execute the program, another block would be created. Okay, you can see this is the f block, this is the g block. That means you can see three block has been created inside this particular memory. First of all, the global block. That means this is my main function block. Then the f function block. Okay, this function block, then the g function block. Okay, so these two is my functional block, this two is temporary, and this one is the permanent one. That's how if you're having some other function also inside this particular function, it will create that many of block. Okay, independent block it will create every time. Now see, it will go inside g, and first of all it will print this particular message inside g function. You can see inside g function will be printed and it will return none because I'm using print statement without return statement. Now if I again click on the next, it will come in the print function. Now it will print this particular inside function f. Okay, now this particular function print would be printed. Now it will return run again because I'm not using any return statement. Okay, now see, this particular function execution would be closed and my code will break. Okay, so that's how actually this particular code is working. Okay, so whenever I'm executing the function f, first of all it is executing this particular function. Okay, that means g function, then it is executing this particular print statement. That's why g is coming at the first, f is coming at the last. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let's say I'll show you another thing. Actually, I'll copy the function here, and now let's say here if I call the f here, so what will happen? Okay, if I call the f here, what will happen? And now let me also call this particular f here. Now see, if I execute this particular code sorted with the output, see, let me show you. See, it will actually print this particular statement infinite of time, and there would be a condition, my memory will get full and I'll get a recursion error. Okay, I'll get a recursion error, maximum recursion depth exit. Okay, exceeded. This is the error actually I'll get. That means what is happening, you have created one infinite loop here. See what is happening, you are calling this particular function f will getting called, and inside function f actually I'm having g, that means g is getting called, and inside g actually I'm again calling this particular function f. So again I'm calling the function f, that means again it is calling g, again g is calling f is calling g is calling f. That's how it is doing repetitive time, and you are creating a recursion here. I'll tell you the recursion. What is recursion? Recursion is a concept inside actually programming. Going forward, we'll be learning in advanced programming part, we'll be learning this particular recursion as well. And this is the concept of data structure and algorithm concept. If you want to learn data structure and algorithm, DSA concept, these particular things is super important there. Fine. As of now, just try to remember, it is running an infinite loop. Okay, that's why it is getting the memory error. Okay, in this particular situation. I hope this is clear. So this is the actually concept of the nested function. And sometimes actually you need nested function. Sometimes let's say you want to hide one functionality of your application. Okay, so you can keep this particular function inside a function itself, okay, so that other can't see your function. Okay, what you have written inside that. Okay, that is the idea. So yes, this is all about our nested functions. I hope you enjoyed. So thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hello guys. In this video, we'll be learning another interesting topic inside functions called functions are first class citizens. See here what I have written, I will tell you, but before that let me show you one actually link. So here you can see I have added one link. This is a Wikipedia link, and this is about actually first class citizens. Now if I open this particular link, so it will redirect to this particular page. Now here you can see, in a given programming language design, a first class citizens is an entity which supports all the operations generally available to other entities. These operations typically include being passed an argument to a function, return from a function, and assigned to a variable. That means in programming, that means in Python, whatever let's say data type you have learned, let's say integer, float, string, okay, then boolean, everything is a first class citizen, because these are the data type can perform all the operations. Like you can give as a argument in a function, you can return these are the data type from a function, you can perform different operations. Okay, so these are the things actually you can perform. That is why we call it as a first class citizen. Okay, but in Python, functions also can be considered as a first class citizen, because with the help of function you can perform all the operations. Like you can check a type of a function, you can check the ID of a function, you can pass the function as an input to another function. That means you can pass as an argument, you can return that particular function. Okay, so all kinds of operation can be performed with the help of function as well inside Python, which is not available in other programming languages. Okay, so this particular concept is very interesting. Even I also enjoyed this particular concept a lot when I learned this particular concept. So let me show you some of the example. I think then this particular concept will be more clear. So see, as of now we saw like different data type. Let's say if I write a is equal to 2, so this is my integer type data type. Now what I can do, I can check the type of this particular data. I'll just use this particular type function. Inside that, if I pass a, so it will tell me it's an integer type data. Okay, you can also check the ID, like in memory location, in which ID actually it is occupying. You can also check that particular memory location. Okay, everything is possible. See, whatever things we learned with respect to other data type, okay, let's say integer, float, boolean, string, and so on, right? All the operations can be performed on top of the function as well. Let me show you. So let's say here I will define a function. Let's say I'll define a function. I'll just name it as a square. Okay, so it will take one number, and it will perform the square operation. So I'll just return number square of 2. Okay, now if I execute, it's working fine. Now let's say I want to check the type of this particular function. I can use the same concept. I'll use the type function. Inside that, I'll only pass this particular function name. Okay, you can see the function name is square. Now if I execute the program, you'll see that it will tell me the type of the function is a function. Okay, it's a function type data. Okay, it's a function type data. Even you can also check the ID. Okay, you can also check the ID. So let me print. I think that would be better. Now inside ID, I will pass my function name. It will also print the specific ID actually it is occupying in the memory. That means what are the operation used to perform in other type data, you can perform the same actually operations on top of the function as well. That's why function is calling first class citizens. Okay, first class citizens inside Python. Okay, like other data type. So this concept is not available in other programming language, but in Python it is possible. Fine. So here function can be used as a first class citizens. Fine. Now let me show you some more example. Let's say I can reassign any kinds of value. Let's say if I just write a is equal to 3. So what I will do, I'll just write b is equal to a. Fine. Now if I print this particular b, you will see that 3 would be printed because here I have reassigned this particular variable in this particular variable. Okay. So this concept also can be used in a function as well. Let me show you. So what I will do, I'll just take a variable called x, and now I'm going to call this particular function. Okay, square. This function I will call here. Now let's say if I give any kinds of input here, so it will return me the that particular square of that particular number. Let's say if I give 4. Now if I print this particular x, so it will return me 16. Now instead of that, what I can do, I'll just simply write x is equal to square. Okay, x is equal to square. Now if I execute, see, it will work fine. Okay, it will work fine. Now if I show you this particular ID of x, now see the same ID. Okay, the same ID it is locating. That means this particular function I can reassign in any other variable. Okay, it is possible. Now I can, if I want to, let's say, perform the operation, the square operation, I can do like that. I'll just write x, and inside x actually I'm going to pass one number, let's say 4. Now if I execute, it will give me 16. That means now x has become your function. Okay, function object. And now what are the operation used to perform with this square? Same operation you can perform with the help of x as well. I hope this is clear, right? Now you can also delete a function object. Let's say if I just use this particular del keyword. Now if I just mention the square, okay, square. Now if I print the square, see, it will tell me square is not defined because square is already deleted here. Okay, square object is already deleted. I hope you got it, right? So the same operation actually we used to also perform with other type data as well. I think you remember we perform in list type, tuple type, okay, then dictionary sets, okay, everything we have learned. You can also store the function in any other data type as well. Let me show you. So first of all, I will execute this particular function because I deleted the object, right? So let me re-execute. Now if I come here, now see, let's say there is a list I'm having. Let's say inside list I'm having some value. Fine. Now I'm also storing this particular square function. Okay, this particular square function object inside this particular list. Now if I execute, see, it's working fine. Now if I print the L, let me show you. If I print the L, it is also printing this particular items. You can see the last item is, it is nothing but it's a function object. Okay, function object I have stored. Now let's say I want to access this particular object. What I can do, I can use the negative indexing -1, and it will return me the function object only. Now let's say I want to perform the square root operation. What I will do, I'll just give the input. Let's say I'll give the input, let's say 4. It will return me 16. Okay, so that's how also you can use this particular function. Okay, you can also store it here. Now you can ask me, function is a mutable or immutable object. See, to check these particular things, you can use one easy approach. So just try to define sets. I think you know set only takes the immutable objects. Okay, not the mutable objects. Now if I give this particular square function object here, now if I execute, first of all, let me print. If I execute, see, it's working. It's working means, that means it's a immutable object. Okay, it's not a mutable object. So always try to remember function is a immutable objects, not a mutable objects. Okay, it's a immutable data type. You can also return a function, okay, from another function. Let me show you another example. Let's say I'll just write a function. Let's say function name is f. So inside that I'm going to create another function. Let's say g. Now this particular g function will take 2 input, a comma b. So 2 parameter it will take. Now I'll just simply return a plus b operation. Okay, now here I'm going to return this particular function, let's say g. Fine. So here you can see I'm returning this particular function object. Okay, g returning, that means I'm returning the function object here. Now simply what I will do, I'll just take a variable, and now I'm going to call this particular function f. Okay, see, now if I execute the program, what will happen? In the variable, this particular function object will come. Let me show you. If I print the variable right now, see, it is returning this particular function g. Now what I can do, simply I can just write like that. Let's say val. Okay, val. Now I can give the input, let's say 2, 4. Now if I execute, it will give me 7. Okay, because it is doing this particular operation and I'm returning this particular function object here. Instead of writing like that, you can also write in just one line. See, here I'm getting the object. Now I'll just give the input here. So let's say 2, 3 I'll give. It will give me okay, so I also need to print this particular val. Okay, now I'll give the, now here I will get the 5. So that's how you can also return a function, okay, from another function. It is also possible. This is called returning a function. You can also take the function as an argument. Let me show you another example. So I already written the code. Let me show you. So here I have defined two functions, function A. Inside that I've just written inside of function A. Then I've taken another function called function B. Okay, this particular function will take one parameter called Z. Now inside that I've just written inside function C. Now it is returning this particular Z, you can see. Okay, it is returning this particular Z. Now see what is happening. I'm calling this particular function here, you can see. And inside this function, I'm giving another function object. I'm passing another function object as an argument. Okay, as an argument I'm passing. That means what is happening? I'm executing this particular B function. First of all, it will print. Let me execute, see what will happen. First of all, it will print inside function C. Okay, inside function C. Then it is returning. Okay, it is returning function Z. And inside function Z, what you are passing? Function A. That means function A will getting called. Okay, that means it will print inside function A. Inside function A. Okay. And it is not returning anything. Okay, it is not returning anything. That's why it will return none. I hope this is clear. Okay, so that's how actually you can also use function as an argument. It is also possible. Okay, so that's why we call this particular function as a first class citizen inside Python, so that you can use this particular function like other type data. Okay, it is possible here. So this is another super important concept. I just wanted to let you know. I hope you enjoyed. So thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone. So far we have learned about the function inside Python, and I showed you different examples of the function. So in this particular video, we'll try to see the benefits of using a function. I think as of now, you saw what is the benefit of the function, right? Instead of writing Python scripting, if I'm using functions, or with the benefit here. So here I've noted down some of the benefit. You can see the first thing, the code modularity. So whenever you are using function, you are making a module. Okay, you are making a module, that's separate module. You can see previously I used to write this particular, let's say, odd even number in a Python scripting. Fine. But here what I did, I just separated out this particular module and I named it as a odd even function. So whenever I need to perform any kinds of odd even operation, I will call this particular function and I can get that particular output. Let's say I will give you one real-time example. You are creating a Facebook application. So there you are creating separate module. Let's say logging is one of the module, sign up is one of the module, then creating a profile one of the module. And what you are doing, you are combining all the module and creating a bigger application. Okay, this is called modularity. And the second thing, code readability, because if you're creating a function, it is like more readability, okay, than your scripting, Python scripting, because in the Python scripting, you will be writing so much code and it would be a little bit hard for you to read that particular code, like what you have written, because everything would be massed up together, right? But if you're creating this particular function, it would be separate module and it would be easy for you to read. Let's say I want to read a logging, let's say logging module. How logging is working. I'll open that logging function. I'll read it. I want to, let's say, see how to create the profile, how this particular module is working. I'll open it up and I'll read it. Okay, that's why it makes this particular code readability. And the third thing, the final thing, code reusability, because I told you, if you're creating a function, you just need to create that function one time and you can use that, okay, anytime in your project. You don't need to recreate that particular code again and again. You don't need to write the code from scratch. Once you create it, you can reuse that particular function anywhere. That is the idea. Okay, so these are some benefit, guys, you have to remember whenever you are working with function, and I think you enjoyed this particular functional concept a lot. Okay, so going forward, we'll be also learning some advanced Python programming like OOP, object oriented programming concept. There also we'll be learning about this particular function, but we'll be learning in a different way. we'll be using something called class. Okay, class object inside of Python. There actually will be using this particular function as a method. Okay, I'll tell you this part. Going forward, actually, we'll be discussing about this particular OOP concept as well. Fine. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing about another amazing concept inside Python called Lambda Function. As of now, we have learned about functions. We've seen like how we can create a functions and all. You can ask me then what is Lambda Functions? Lambda is also functions. It's a one-line function. We also call it as a anonymous function inside Python. So it's completely practical actually understanding. So what I will do, I'll just go to my code editor and I'll show you this particular Lambda function. So guys, you can see Lambda function is nothing but a Lambda function is a small anonymous function inside Python. A Lambda function can take any input of arguments, but can only have one expression. Okay. So here you can see I have kept one example. So your Lambda function looks like that. So if you want to define a Lambda function, first of all, you have to use one keyword, Lambda keyword, okay, called Lambda. Now here you have to take actually parameter. Okay, you can take 2 parameter, 3 parameter, 4 parameter, and so on. It's up to you. So we call it as a parameter. So here parameter actually they have taken a comma b. Okay, that means 2 parameter. You can see. Then you have to define a colon. Okay, you have to define a colon here. You can see this colon. So this colon is for the expression. That means whatever things you will be writing after this particular colon, this should be your expression. Now see here is one expression a plus b. That means whatever input actually it is receiving from the user, let's say a, b, it is just doing the addition operation. This is called expression. Okay, must be a single valid Python expression. So you can only use one expression here. Okay, not multiple expression. You can't use actually a plus b comma a minus b. It's not possible. You need to only use one expression. Okay, if you're using Lambda function. But if you want to perform multiple expression, that time you can use normal Python function. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now you can ask me why this particular Lambda function is required. I'll tell you, just give me some time, I'll tell you. We'll be using this in the higher order function. I'll tell you what are the higher order functions are available. Fine. But before that, let me show you some example of the Lambda function. Like let's create some Lambda function and let's solve some expression. Okay, with the help of that. So let's say I want to create a function which will return the square of a, let's say, number. So for this, I can use this particular Lambda function. So I'll just write Lambda. Okay, Lambda is a keyword. Now here you can see I have to give the input. That means the parameter. Okay. Now I told you this particular function will do the square operation of a number. So only one input I need to give. Let's say the number is x. Okay. Now I have to give this particular colon because after the colon I'll be writing the expression. Okay. So what is the expression? Expression is nothing but x power of 2. Okay. That means it will do the power operation. Fine. I hope you got it. Now if I execute the program, see what will happen. If I execute the program, see it will give you one function object. Okay, it will give you one function object, and the function object is nothing but it's a Lambda function object. So Lambda doesn't return anything. Always try to remember Lambda doesn't return anything. Instead, it returns the function itself. Okay, it returns the function itself. But previously, whenever I was using the like simple function, it used to return something. Okay, it used to return something. I think we remember there. Now, what I need to do, I can store in a variable. Let's say I can store in a, let's say, variable called a. Now, if I print the a, you will see that I'm getting a function again. Now, what I can do, I can use this particular object to give my input. Okay, so how I can give the input? I'll give the parenthesis, and inside that I'll give this particular input, which is nothing but x. Okay, now let's say x is equal to, I'll give 4. Now, if I execute the program, it will return me 16. Okay, so it is the Lambda function expression. Now see, I solved this particular question. Only just one line of code. Okay, only just one line of function, which is nothing but Lambda function. Previously, I also showed you this particular code, how we can create this function with the help of normal function. So they're actually used to write multiple line of code, right? But now with the help of one line of code, one line of function, you can create this particular, let's say, statement. Okay, this is the power of Lambda function. Let's do another problem. So what I will do, I'll copy this particular function as it is. Now, I will receive actually two numbers. Let's say x and y. And I'll just do the addition operation. Okay, x plus y. Now see, if you only pass one number, it will throw you error. Okay, it will throw you error. It will tell you Lambda function missing one required positional argument y. So you also need to give the y input. So let's say y is equal to 6. Now if I execute the program, it will return me 10. That's how actually you can create a Lambda function. And here is the expression I have given you. Okay, how to create it and all. Now let's try to see the difference between Lambda function and normal function. You can see here are some main difference actually I kept. So lambda function has no name. You can see there is no name of this particular lambda function. Okay, you don't need to define any kinds of name if you're using lambda function, but if you're using normal function, there you have to define a name. Okay, I think remember lambda has no return value. I told you it doesn't return any kinds of value. Instead, it will return the function itself. Okay, it will return the function itself. Lambda is written in one line. You can see we have written this particular function in just only one line and not reusable. Okay, that means you can't reuse this particular function. It's not possible. But you can reuse the Python normal function. Then why use lambda function? Okay, you can ask me why to use this particular lambda function, because there would be some situation you will be working with higher order function. Okay, higher order function in your project. What is higher order function? I'll tell you. Higher order function means, see, you can also call it as HOF, that means higher order function. So with the help of higher order function, you can use this particular lambda function. Okay, before showing you this higher order function, let me show you some more example you can solve with the help of lambda function. So here is one example, guys. You can see here you have to check a string has a character or not. Okay, now you can see I have written a lambda function. So user is giving a string and I'm checking a in s, that means I'm using the membership operator. So if a is there inside this particular string, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. If I executes, it will return false because a is not there inside hello. Now if I give e, it is present, it will give me true. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now there is another problem. You can see, guys, odd and even number. I think we have also written this particular code with the help of normal function, and you can see now I have written this code with the help of only one line of code with the help of lambda function. So here I just need to check whether a number is a odd and even number. So here user will give one number. Okay, one number, one input, that means one parameter. And here I'm checking if this particular number is divisible by 2 and remainder is equal to 0. So it's an odd number. I mean, the way you actually used to write the list comprehension. Okay, remember? So that's how you have to write it here as well. Otherwise, it's a odd number. That means if it is divisible, that means it's an even number. Otherwise, it's an odd number. Okay. Now here I'm giving the input as a 6. Now 6 is an even number, so it will give you even. Now if I give 7 here, it's a odd number. It will give you odd. I hope this is clear. Okay, how to use this particular lambda expression. Now let's try to see this particular higher order function. Here I told you. So here I already told you lambda can be used with the help of higher order function. Okay, so let me show you some higher order function example. Let's say you are having one list of number. So let me just take a list, and here I will have some number. Let's say 1, 2. Let's say I'm having some list of the number. Now what I want to do, I want to perform square operation. Okay, on top of all the items here. Now for this, I'm going to create a function. Let's say function name is square. So it will take one input, one parameter called x, and whatever actually x is receiving, it will do the square operation. Fine. So this is my function, and to pass this particular list in this particular, let's say, square function, I will create another function here, and I'm going to name it as transform. Okay, transform. So this function will actually receive one function. Now see, the function actually I'm going to create this particular transform. So this is going to be a higher order function. This is going to be a higher order function. Now, how you can identify whether this particular function is a higher order function or not? See, if any function takes input another function, this is called actually higher order function. Or else, if any function returns any kinds of function object, okay, that means it returns any kinds of function, again it's an higher order function. I think I showed you, right? We can also take as an argument. Okay, we can take a function as an argument in another function. I think I showed you, right? Whenever I was talking this particular functions is a first class citizens. Okay, this particular video I was discussing this part. I think you remember. Even we can also return a function inside a function. It is possible, right? So whenever you see these kinds of condition, if any function takes input any kinds of function, it's an higher order function. Or whenever it is returning any kinds of function, okay, it is also a higher order function. So here this transform function I will be creating as a higher order function. That means this particular function will take an input, and which is nothing but a function. Okay, so it will take an input which is nothing but a function. I'll just name it as f, and it will also take this particular input as l. That means this particular list. I hope it is clear, right? And why I've given the pass, because if I now execute the program, it will work fine, okay, without any error. But if you're not using this pass, it will throw you error, okay, incomplete syntax. I think I showed you this particular pass statement. I think you remember. Got it? Yeah. Now, simply inside transform, what I will do, I'll just write a logic. So first of all, I'll take an empty list here. So output is equal to, it would be an empty list. and I'll just write a for loop here. So for I in L, that means I'm iterating on top of this particular list, and whatever value actually I'll be getting, I'll just do the output dot append. Okay, output dot append, and I will pass this particular value in. I will pass this particular item inside this particular function. Okay, that means I. So what will happen? Whatever value actually I'm iterating, okay, from this particular list, let's say one will go inside this particular function. Let's say inside this particular square function, it will perform the square operation and it will append inside this particular empty list. Again, two will go inside this particular square function. It will do the square operation and it will append inside this particular output. That's how I need to perform for all the value. Okay, so once it is done, so I'll just simply print the output. Fine. Now if I execute the program, it will work fine. Now what I will do, I'll call this particular transform, and this particular transform will take two input. One is the function. You can see function will take the input, and another input actually it will take the list. Okay, the list actually I have defined here. Now if I execute the program, see, it will return also one list. You can see it is also returning. That means it is printing this particular empty list, and which is nothing but the square of all the number I have given. Okay, you can see 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, and so on. I hope this is clear. So this is an higher order function we have defined here. Oh, sorry, it should be HOF. Okay, higher order function. Now you can ask me, okay, sir, I got it. I can use the higher order function and I can perform these kinds of operation. But here, why I'm using this particular lambda function? Let me tell you. See, now let's say you want to perform, let's say something called a cube operation. Okay, you want to, let's say, perform something called cube operation. That means whatever number actually you are receiving, you want to perform cube operation instead of square operation. So for this, what you have to do, again, you have to define a function called cube. It will take this particular like number as an input and will return the cube. Okay, that means you are performing cube operation on top of it. Now instead of this square, what you have to pass? You have to pass the cube here. Okay, now you have to also pass this particular L. And now if I execute, it will return me the cube. Now let's say in future you want to add some other operation. Let's say you want to let's say you want to check the area. Okay, you want to check the area, or let's say you want to multiply, you want to subtract, you want to add. For this you have to create different function. Okay, different function. So again, it's a hectic task. We have to create different function and we have to write tons of code. But we can actually handle this particular situation with the help of lambda function. Let me show you. So here, instead of using this particular function, what I can use lambda function. So I'll just simply write lambda. Okay, lambda. It will take an input called x, and the expression it will perform. Let's say I want to perform the square operation. I'll just do the square operation. Okay, that's it. Okay, you have created this particular function and you are giving this particular list as well. Now if I execute the program, see, it will return you the same thing. Now let's say in future you want to perform cube operation. Only give the cube operation. See, it will return you the cube. Now let's say you want to perform this operation, it will return you this operation as well. So here I don't need to create different function for this. I can use a lambda function, okay, and I can do this particular statement in very easily. Okay, because it's a higher order function. It takes a function as an input, and lambda is a function. That's why I can pass this particular function here. It's possible, right? It's possible, and it's nothing but it's a function object. So that's why I'm giving the value inside this particular function, and it is appending inside this particular list itself. I hope you got it. Okay, so that's why we use this particular lambda function. Okay, with the higher order function. Okay, with the higher order function. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now inside Python, we are having some higher order function, like we are having something called map, reduce, and filter. Okay, so these three actually higher order function will be learning. And trust me, whenever you will be working with data science domain, this particular like higher order function will help you a lot. This map, reduce, and filter. So in the next video, we'll try to understand these are the higher order function inside Python, how we can use them, and what is the advantage to use that particular higher order function. Got it? So with that, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, welcome back. In our previous video, I was discussing about lambda functions inside Python, and there I told you we can use this lambda function with the help of higher order function inside Python. And I showed you one example of higher order function. Like, what is higher order function exactly? It takes any kinds of function as an input, or it returns any kinds of function, any kinds of input. Okay, if it is doing these kinds of, let's say, things, you can consider this is the higher order function. In that video, I also told you inside Python, we are having some more, let's say, higher order function like map, filter, and reduce. In this particular video, we'll be seeing some example of this particular map, filter, and reduce. Then this part would be more clear. So let's go to our code editor and try to understand this higher order function inside Python. So here you can see, we'll see some example of map, filter, and reduce. So here I listed down some of the example. One by one, we'll try to see. So first of all, let's try to discuss this map higher order function. Okay, how map can be used. So to use the map, there is a function, okay, you can call map. Okay, it is already available inside Python, and this is a higher order function. This function takes an input. Okay, this function takes an input which should be a function object. Okay, which should be a function object. Fine. Previously, the function we used to use, let's say max. Okay, max doesn't takes any kinds of function input. So if I show you, let's say this is my lambda function I'll create. Let's say it will take one number x, and it will return that particular number itself. Okay, and I will store in a variable, let's say a. Now if I execute, see, now if I give the a inside max, it won't be working. It will throw you error. Function object is not iterable. Okay, because max function doesn't support any kinds of let's say function input. Okay, you can't pass any kinds of function input. But if you're using map, okay, if you're using map can take the input. But here you have to pass at least two arguments. Okay, at least two arguments. The second argument, you have to pass one iterable object. Okay, you have to pass one iterable object. Iterable object means you can use list here. So let's say here I'm having one list. So what I can do, I can take a list. I'm having, let's say, some number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now if I execute, now see, if I give the L as well, okay, if I give the L as well, it will work fine. Okay, and it will return one map object. Okay, it will return one map object to you. So that's why we call this particular map as a higher order function, because it takes input which is also a function. Okay, and it takes another input which is a iterable object. I hope it is clear. Now we'll try to use this particular concept to use this particular map here. Fine. So what I'll do, first of all, let's say I want to square the items of a list. Okay, let's say I'm having list of number. Let's say this is my list of number I'm having. So what I have to do, I want to perform the square operation on top of it. Okay, so for this, what I can do, I can give a lambda function first of all, because it takes the input of a function. So I'll just write lambda x, that means x should be the input from the user, and whatever x actually I'm getting, I'll just do the square operation. Okay, I'll do the square operation, and the second parameter you have to pass, that means the second argument you have to pass, which is nothing but a list. Okay, so this list actually I'm going to pass as it is. Fine. Now if I execute the program, you will see that it will return you one map object. It will return you one map object. And if you want to see the actually results, what you can do, you can again convert this particular map object to a list. Okay, to a list you can convert. And now if I execute, you'll see the number itself. Okay, so this is the idea, and this is the use of this particular map. Okay, map higher order function. So what it is doing, it is just mapping the number in this particular list only. That means it is doing this particular operation. First of all, it is taking the value, doing this operation, and it is mapping here. Again, it is taking this value, doing the operation, again it is mapping here. Again, this value, and this value. Okay, so this is the work of this particular map higher order function. I hope it is clear. Now let me delete this particular line. Okay, it's not required. Now let's solve the second actually exercise, odd and even number labeling of a list of item. So let's say you are having this particular list of item. I'll just create a list. Fine. Now let's say what I want to check, the odd and even number. So I'll just take a map function again, and here first of all I will pass a lambda function. Okay, lambda, user will give one input x, and I'll just check even. Okay, even if x mod of 2 is equal to 0, else it will return odd. And the second argument I have to pass this particular list. Fine. Now it will return me one map object. I need to convert to a list again if I want to see the output. Now if I execute, see, it is returning odd, even, see, odd, even, and odd. Okay, odd, even, odd, even, and odd. I have this clear. Fine. That means what is happening? Again, it is taking the number. It is doing this particular expression, and it is mapping the items here only. You can see it's an odd. That's why this particular odd will map here. Again, this is even, it will map here. So it is using the same list only, and it is mapping the results here. Okay, that is the idea. Now we can also fetch the name from a list of dictionary. Okay, so let's say I'm having a list of dictionary here. So this concept you'll be using in the data science a lot. So let's say here I'm having some user data. You can see it's a list. Inside list, actually I'm having a dictionary. Okay, I'm having couple of dictionary here. Inside dictionary, I'm having the name, age, and gender. Name, age, and gender. Okay, the same things. Now let's say I only want to fetch the name. Okay, I want to only fetch the name. Okay, from this particular list of dictionary. I can use this particular map function. Let me show you. So I can use the map. Okay, I can use the map. Inside that, I'll just write a lambda function, and it will take the input. Let's say user. Okay, that means this particular user object, actually it will take the input, and it will just return user. Okay, user name. Okay, name, because it's a dictionary. I can extract this particular key. Okay, name key only. Now here I need to pass this particular user user list. Okay, list object here. Now I will convert this map to a list. So it will return me all the name one by one. Now let's see, you want to extract the age. That time you can give the age here. Okay, you want to you can give the age here. If you want to extract the gender, you can give the gender here. Okay, that's how we can extract the information. Okay, with the help of this particular map function. Okay, I hope this is clear. So now we'll be discussing about the filter higher order function as well. So let's see some example of filter as well. See, filter is an awesome higher order function, and it filters the, let's say, value. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say here I'm having one list. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's say this is my list. Now let's say here I want to get a numbers greater than 5, or let's say greater than, I can just write 2. I want to get a number. I want to get some number which is greater than 2. So I can use this particular filter. So filter, inside that I will give the lambda function again, and it will take an input of x, and it will only check, okay, x is greater than, okay, 2 or not. If it is true, it will filter, and now I need to give the list as well. Okay, this particular list. So this will return me filter object. You can see it will return me filter object. So I need to convert to a list again. Now if I execute, see, it will give me the number which is greater than 2. I hope you got it. That means it will only filter out. Okay, filter out the number based on your condition. Okay, that's the idea. Now similar wise, I have given another example. Let's say you are having list of the fruits, and you want to only print those fruits. Actually, you want to only extract those fruits which is starting with A. Okay, you can see apple is starting with A. Only apple. Okay, apple is there. So here I've written a condition lambda. User will give an input. Let's say fruits is the input, and what it will apply? It will apply start with let's say method on top of this particular input, because at the end all the items is a string. Okay, and I can use the string method here. I think you remember. And it is checking start with A or not. If it started with, then it will filter out. Okay, now if I execute, you will see apple would be printed. Now let's see the last one, which is nothing but reduce. Okay, so what reduce does? So let me show you. See, reduce actually you can't use directly. So there is no reduce function inside Python. There is no reduce function inside Python. So for this, you have to import one library, okay, called function tool. Func tool. Okay, func tool. This is the library you have to import. And from func tool itself, you have to call this particular reduce function. Okay, inside func tool, you have the reduce function, reduce higher order function. Now inside that, you can give a lambda function, and the operation I want to perform, I want to sum all the element. Okay, I want to sum all the element. Let's say you are having some element. Let's say this is your list. This is your list, and you want to sum all the element here. So you can use this particular lambda expressions, lambda x, and whatever x actually I'm getting, sorry, x and y. I have to give x and y. And I just need to perform x plus y. I'll tell you what is happening here. First of all, let me write, and I'll pass this particular list. Now if I execute, see, it will return me the sum. Okay, sum all the number. Now you can calculate the sum all the number. You'll see you'll get 15. Now how it is working, let me show you. So see, first of all, what it will do, if you have written x and y, first of all, it will take 2 input. Let's say it will take 1. Okay, it will take 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2. Now it will perform this particular addition operation. Now what is the addition of 1 and 2? It will become 3. Okay, it will become 3. Now it will take another 2 value actually. Now it will take 3 and this particular 3. Okay, 3 and this particular 3. So it will become something called 6. Okay, 6. Now it will take this particular 6 and it will take this particular 4. Okay, 4. Now it will become 10. Okay, 10. Now it will take this particular 10 and this particular 5, and you will get something called 15. That's how you are getting this particular number. Okay, that means what reduce is doing, it is reducing this particular iteration. Okay, it is reducing the iteration. It is taking two, actually, let's say number, and it is doing the actually expression. Again, it is taking another number with the same number. Okay, and it is doing this particular expression. Okay, this is called reduce. Okay, this is called reduce. I hope you got it right now. So let me clear the board. Now there is another example we'll see, like we'll find the minimum number from a list. You can see. So here I've written the condition. So lambda user will give a number, actually two number, because it uses all this will accept two number. You can see two number it will take, and it will check if this particular number, okay, x is greater than y or not. Okay, if yes, it will return the x, otherwise it will return the y. Okay, this is the condition I have written, and this is the list actually I have given. Now if I execute the program, you'll see okay, so it is printing 45. I'm finding the min because here I am to give the less than size. Okay, less than sign. This is my bad case. Now it will return me the 1. Now what is happening, let me show you. So first of all, it will take this two number. Okay, it will take this two number. It will check this 23. Okay, 23 is less than y is nothing but 11 or not. You can see it's not actually true. Okay, it's not true. It will return you false. That means this particular 23 is not less than 11. Okay, it's not 11. Then what it will again do, it will take this particular 11 and it will take this 45. Then it will check 11. Okay, 11 is less than 45 or not. Yes, it is less than. Okay, so it will take this particular number. Okay, it will take this particular number. Again, it will take another number. Again, it will check whether this particular number is less than or not. That's how it will perform till all the value. And once it got the minimum value, it will print this particular minimum value here. That is the idea. Okay, I hope you've got it. Now let me clear the board. So yes, these are the actually higher order function you can use inside Python. And trust me guys, this particular function will help you a lot going forward whenever you will be, let's say, doing data science, or let's say you are doing data structure and algorithm problem statement and all. This particular function will help you a lot. And this is the concept of higher order functions. Okay, now everything is clear. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we'll be learning about another amazing function inside Python called enumerate. See, enumerate function will help you a lot actually whenever you are working with the indexes. So let me give you one example. Let's say whenever we define any kinds of for loop, let's say I'm having a list of the numbers. Let's say I'm having list of the names here. So I'll just write, let's say I'm having this list of the name. Now I will apply the for loop on top of it. I'll just write for name in L, and I'll simply print this particular name here. Now see, if I select my kernel, so it will execute the program, and see, I'm getting my name here. Now see, sometimes actually it's a little bit hard for me to get the index, like what is the index of Bapi, what is the index of Alex, because I need to count, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So it's like very irritating. Let's say we're having thousands of name here and you don't need to count actually thousands of index there. Okay, it's not actually possible. So if I want to assign some index, okay, with this particular, let's say item, what I can do, I can use something called enumerate function. So what enumerate does, it will assign an index. Okay, by default it will assign an index. So let me show you. So instead of writing like that for name in L, I'll just write for a name in enumerate. Okay, enumerate of L. Okay, enumerate of L. So you have to pass this particular list inside this particular enumerate function. Okay, inside this particular enumerate function. Now see what will happen. Now if I print this particular statement, now see, it will return a tuple. Okay, it will return a tuple. Inside this particular tuple, in the first value, you'll see it's a index, and the second value, it's your actual item from a list. Okay, that's the idea. Now if you want to unpack it, you can easily do it. So the first value I want to unpack, and I want to keep it in a, let's say, index variable. Okay, I want to keep inside an index variable, and the second value I want to keep inside a name variable. Now I can simply print the index as well as the name. Now if I execute, see, it's working fine. Now easily I can see, okay, Bapi is the first index, Alex is the let's say second index. Okay, that's how actually I can see all the index number. I hope it is clear. Now let's say you don't want to let's say take this particular 0 as a starting value. What you can do, you can also change it. So here you can use this particular start parameter, and here just need to write the 1. That's I want to start from 1. Now if I execute, see, it will start from 1. So that's actually you have the flexibility to change this particular index value, like from where you want to start. You can do anything here. Fine. So this is a quick topic I just wanted to let you know, because sometimes actually you need it. Sometimes actually you need it whenever you are working with, let's say, this kinds of iteration. Sometimes actually you need to see that particular, let's say, index of that particular item. Okay. And to get that particular index, definitely you can use this particular enumerate function. So with the help of index also, you can write some logic. Let's say I'll just write if let's say index, okay, index is equal 3. Okay, if index is equal 3, that time actually I need to print the name. Okay, you will see Kumar is Kumar position is index 3, so it will print the Kumar. That's actually you can also write some logic with the help of index value as well. Okay, so it's like very powerful function inside Python. You can also use called enumerate. Okay, sometimes actually you need it whenever you will be doing the projects and all. Fine. So yes, I just wanted to let you this particular quick topic. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Hi guys, so far we have completed our Python functions concept. We have seen like different concept of functions, right? And I think you enjoyed this particular session. I think you enjoyed all the sessions, right? You can let me know guys how sessions are going on. You can just do the comment in the comment section. If you have any feedback, you can feel free to put it there, right? So now in this particular video, we'll try to solve some problem, this particular function problem, so that your understanding would be more clear. So here I've listed down some of the problem. Actually, you can see we'll be solving one by one, all of them, right? And after this particular video, I'll show you one actually website you can use, let's say, to practice your Python problem, right? Let's say if you're learning any Python concept, so you can go to that particular website and you can solve different problem statement, and you can evaluate yourself, right? You can actually practice there. So basically you can practice all the concept whatever you have learned so far, right? So see, whenever you are learning about programming, it's all about practice. The more practice you will be doing, the more good understanding actually you will be having on this particular programming, the more good logic building knowledge actually you'll be gaining, right? So make sure you are practicing a lot. Unless and until you are not practicing, definitely it would be a little bit difficult for you to cope up with this particular programming concept. So I'll suggest guys, please try to practice whatever exercise I'm showing you in front of this particular, let's say, video. Apart from that, also try to pick up any other problem statement and try to solve it. And all the problem statements solutions are available over the internet. If you just search it, you will get it. But I won't suggest, first of all, see the solution. First of all, try by yourself. If you're not able to do it, then try to see the solution. Okay, so that's how actually you can practice. And I will show you one website after the session. So make sure you create an account there and try to solve different problem statement there. So first of all, let's solve one problem statement. You can see the problem statement actually will be solving. Write a Python function that takes a list and returns a new list, which is unique elements of the first list. Okay, so what I have to do, guys, you can see here I have given one example. Let's say this is the list you have given. So here you are having duplicates value as well. You can see now you have to write a Python function that will return a unique number of that particular list only, right? You can see it will return only unique number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, not any duplicates value. So for this we have to write one function here. So let's create a function. So I think we know how to create a function. So I'll just create a function called def, and I'll just name it as unique items. So this is going to take a list, and here what I'll do. So here, first of all, I'll just write a for loop. So for I in this particular list, and whatever whatever item actually I'll get, I'll just try to check if this particular item, okay, if this particular item are not in, okay, that means it is not present inside my result variable. Okay, results. So here I have to take a variable. That means I have to take a list here. So results. Okay, results is equal to an empty list. Okay, if it is not there inside results, so what I will do, I'll just try to append this particular I. So once it is done, I'll just return it. Okay, return this particular results. Now let me give a list here. So L is equal to, let's say I'm having list. I'll copy the same list as it is, and I'll just call my function unique item. Okay, and I'm going to pass this particular list here. Now here I'm doing the return statement. That's why I have to store in a variable, let's say output, and I'll print this particular output here. Right, now if I execute, see, it will return you all the unique item. So what is happening? First of all, it is iterating on top of this particular list. So first of all, one will come and it will check if one not in result. Okay, that means one is available inside result or not. See, initially result would be empty, it's not there. So what it will do, it will append it. Okay, it will append this particular one inside this particular result list. Fine. Then 2 will come. Okay, then 2 will come again. 2 is not there inside the results, it will append 2 inside results list. Then 3 will come. 3 is not also there, so it will append again 3. See, 3 is already there. That means this particular statement is right now false, so it won't be appending this particular 3. Okay, again it will take this particular 3. Again it will check. Again 3 is there, it will ignore. Again this 3, and so on. Okay, now you can see 4 will come. 4 is not there. Again 4 will append. Then 5. Okay, that's how this particular program is working. I hope you got it, right? This is a very simple program we have written. And here we use this particular functional concept. I hope you got it. Now the second problem we'll be solving. Write a Python function that accepts a hyphen separated sequence of word as a parameter and returns the word in a hyphen separated sequence after sorting them alphabetically. That means what will happen? This particular function will take this kinds of input, hyphen separated word. You can see this is the input. You have given green, red, yellow, black, and white. And the output should be hyphen separated one only, but you have to sort with respect to alphabetically. That means, see, B will come at the first because B is coming after A, then G, then R, then W, then Y. Okay, I hope you got it. What is alphabetically sorted? I think I showed you, right? So this particular statement I have to write right now with the help of function. So let's create a function. But before that, let me tell you how we can solve this particular problem. See, I think you know that. Let's say this is my string, right? So I think you know inside string we're having a method called split. Okay, split I think we can use. And what split does, it will do the split operation with respect to any kinds of symbol. Let's say I want to perform with respect to this particular hyphen symbol. And it will return me one list. Okay, it will return me one list, you can see. Okay, it is returning one list, green, red, yellow, black, and white. Okay, now I can easily perform the sorted operation. So I'll just do the sorted operation. So it will perform the alphabetically sort right now. You can see now black, green, red, white, and yellow is coming. The same output. Fine. Then what I have to do, I have to again convert this particular list to this particular string. Okay, this particular string type output. So for this, let's create a function. So I'll just name it as sort sequence. Okay, it will take a string. So instead that, I'm going to write a for loop. So for I in, okay, sequence, that means string, split, okay, with respect to this particular hyphen. Fine. And whatever actually output I'm getting, I'll just do the sorted operation. Okay, the same example I showed you, I think, remember. And what I will do, all the word actually I'll be getting one by one, right? Let's say green, red, yellow, black. So I'll save everything in a very in a actually list. Let's say I'll just name it as temp. Okay, so now I'll just write temp dot append I. Okay, if I return this particular temp, okay, if I return this particular temp, see what will happen. So first of all, let me define the string. Now let me call this particular function. So sorted sequence, here I'm going to pass my string and it is returning, so I'll store in an output variable and I'm going to print it. Now see, if I execute, it is returning a list, but I want this kinds of output. Okay, string out. So what I can do, instead of returning temp, so I'll just take a empty string, and inside that I'm going to mention hyphen, and I'm going to use this particular join function. I think you remember what join function does. It will take actually list of words and it will do the join operation with respect to this particular hyphen sign. Okay, now let me show you. If I give the temp here, now if I execute the program right now, see, I'll get the same output. Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, so now the next problem we'll be solving. This is the problem. A dictionary contains following information about 5 employees. First name, last name, age, grade, like skilled, semi-skilled, and highly skilled. Grade is like semi-skilled, skilled, and highly skilled. So here what I have to do, we have to write a program using map, filter, or reduce. Okay, to print the name of the employee, like the first name and last name, who are highly skilled. Now you can see this is the list of dictionary we're having. Inside that we are having some employees information like first name, last name, age and grade. You can see first name, last name, age and grade. So what I have to do, we have to only print the first name and last name who is having grade is equal to skilled. Okay, grade is equal to skilled, not semi skilled, not highly skilled. Sorry, I think we have to print for the highly skilled. Okay, not for the skilled. So I need to print the name, first name and last name, which is whose grade is having highly skilled. Okay, so this is the condition I have to apply with the help of map filter, or you can use also reduce here. Okay, so let me show you how we can solve this particular problem statement. See here, first of all, I will try to filter out those employees whose grade is like highly skilled. Okay, so for this, I think we can use filter higher order function. Okay, I think you know that. So I can just write filter and I can take a new cell and here I can write. I think that would be better. Now see, filter will return a filter object. So I just need to convert it to a list. Okay, list object. Okay, now I'll get the output. Fine. Now inside that, I'll just write a lambda function, lambda. So it will take a input, let's say x, and it will check, okay, true if x grade. Okay, that means this is a dictionary, so I just need to assign the key. So if grade is equal, okay, if it is equal, highly skilled. Okay, if it is equal, highly skilled, then it will actually give me true. Otherwise, okay, otherwise in the else it will give me false. Okay, it will give me false. And second parameter, I have to pass this particular list, employee list. Fine. Now if I execute the program, okay, it is showing me error because, okay, so it should be if, not is. Now I think it's fine. Now see, if I execute the program, you'll see that I will get actually those employees which is having actually grade is equal to highly skilled. Like you can see Bunny and Abhinav. Okay, so they are having highly skilled. Okay, now I don't need all the information like A is grade. I don't need all the information. I only need the first name and last name. Okay, now if I want to get the first name and last name, I can use the map function for this. So here I'll just simply write map and map will return the map object. I need to convert to a list. So let me just write list. Fine. So here I'll just write lambda. So it will take one input called x and it will give me the x of first name, okay, and it will give me the last name. I'll just write plus, I'll give a space here, and again I will add last name. Okay, I'll add last name. And the second parameter, I will give the entire filter I have written here. Okay, that means filter will give me this particular output. Okay, and see what will happen. So if I just take a list and if I paste it here, now see if I pass the L here, so see it will give me the name. Okay, that means what is happening, instead of storing it, what I will do, I'll just copy the entire this particular statement and I will give it here. Okay, I'll give it here. Okay, I'll give it here. Now see, it will look a little bit bigger expression, but I think you got it. Okay, what is happening? That means the output I'm getting after performing filter, I'm giving it to the map function. If I now see, if I execute the program, you'll see that I'm getting those name. Okay, first name and last name, which is having highly skilled. Now let me delete this particular line. I don't need it. I also can delete this particular line. Okay, now see everything I've written in a single line. Okay, single line. Now you can see Bunny is having highly skilled and Abhinav is having highly skilled. Okay, see, that's how actually we can solve this particular problem statement. So I hope you got it, guys, how we can use this as the functional concept to solve different problem statement. Now let me show you one website. Actually, you can solve different problem statement there. You can practice your, let's say, topic there. So if you go to Google and search for HackerRank, okay, HackerRank. So the name of the website is HackerRank. So let me open the HackerRank. See, this is the website. You can open it up. And here you have to create an account. If you don't have the account, you can sign up. You just log in up with your, let's say, email address. You will have one account. So I already have one account. Let me log in with my account. So see, guys, I logged in with my account, and you can see, I also used to practice in this particular website. You can see HackerRank, and here I almost completed 77% of, like, you can say, problem statement. That means 77% actually question I solve here with respect to the Python. Now see here you can find different actually, let's say topic. Let's say if you're practicing algorithm, artificial intelligence, Java, SQL, all the topics actually you'll get here. Now let's see, we are practicing Python right now. We are learning Python, so I'll select the Python here. All the Python related question will come right now. See, all the basics to advanced question you will get here. This is the hello world actually problem statement. Now if I open it up, now see, that's how your problem statement will look like. Okay, here you will get the problem statement, and here you will get the example how you need to solve, and here you have to write the code. Now you can select the language. Let's say you can, so here let's say I want to use Python 3. Okay, now here you can write the code. So just write the code here and try to submit. So it will check whether your code is correct or not. If yes, then you will be able to submit your code. Otherwise, if it is throwing error, you have to recorrect that particular code. Okay. Now see, left hand side you will also get the, let's say, discussion. Then you will also get, let's say, tutorial. Everything you will get. Okay, you will also get the leaderboard, like what is your rank here. Okay, you will also get the submission. Let's say if you don't know how to solve it, you can go to the discussion and you can see people are already solved this particular problem. You can see their solution and you can write it here. But initially, first of all, try by yourself. If you're not able to solve, then try to see the solution. Okay, this should be my suggestion. Or let's say if you're not getting any kinds of solution, what you can do, you can copy the problem statement name. Let's say this is my problem statement name. I'll copy and I'll go to Google and simply search. Okay, solution. I'll search for the solution. So you'll get the solution here. Okay, see, lots of people have given the solution. That's how actually you can also see the solution. Okay, all the question you can see here. All the question is having their solution. But first of all, try by yourself. Then try to see the solution. Now see, whatever topics we have learned, nested list, then list, tuples. Okay, every topics actually has their practice problem. So please come here and try to create an account and try to practice here. So definitely your logic binding skill would be very good. Okay, after that. And you can also see your score, like what is the performance you are doing here. So this is an amazing actually website you can follow if you want to practice Python here. Fine. So yes, this is the actually bonus tips from my end. I think you got it. And please practice. Practice makes perfect always. Unless and until you are not doing practicing, it would be a little bit difficult for you. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time.